All right, welcome to another episode of F1 News, where we always bring you an analytical perspective, but always with a hint of laughter. So let's start off with Mr. Yuki Tsunoda. So Yuki Tsunoda is under a lot of pressure this year, and at Motorsport Weekly, they spoke to him, and he admitted that he's going through a lot of pressure right now. These are his exact words. These situations are full of pressure, and it's not very fun, but I'll keep working through it. So I don't know what he means by pressure. Maybe he means, in the news, they always like to take people's words out of context. I don't think he means he's under pressure to lose his job or get kicked out, but it's just under pressure. But we can still take that platform right now to say two things. Do you think he feels under pressure about losing his seat? Probably a little bit, but I think more importantly is he going to make it to the end of the season, which I think he will make it to the end of the season. But I think pressure or no pressure, his days in Red Bull may be numbered because he's always been an outsider with Honda. So, and it'll be a pity if he has to leave, but he might have to leave because Red Bull is trying to move up some of their guys from F2. So my prediction is that next year either Yuki leaves or Liam Lawson leaves, the Red Bull family. And if Liam Lawson leaves, there may be a chance that Yuki will be demoted back to Racing Bulls and Hajar will be brought forward. Then the young guy, Lindblad, will come. There's a lot of different permutations, but I just want to see what you guys think. What do you think, Mr. Kunle?
I think Yuki Tsunoda is too good a driver to be left out of Formula One. If Yuki and Lawson were to leave Red Bull, I think that of the two, Yuki would remain in Formula One, should go to another car, the way Sainz bounced off Ferrari, another car. I think that Yuki is a Formula One top level, should be there. Lawson, I think hasn't shown me enough. I actually don't think Lawson is Formula One material.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
He needs a good car. Lawson has shown me that. I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair on him, but I believe that Lawson, even with a good car, would be very weak. I think he should be let go. Yes.
Yeah, when I look at Lawson, I see someone, he can drive well, but there's just nothing that stands out about him. It's sort of like, I'm not saying he's a bad driver. I think he can drive, but he doesn't have enough raw talent. That's just the way I see it. And Yuki could stay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Johnny, about what Kunle just said? Yeah.
Well, I think Yuki, the only pressure I can imagine him being under is he's like his partner is up front alone, fighting a lone battle, that he can't help, and he can be helped to the constructors championship, or even to act like a real wingman for his partner. So I think that would be the only pressure that I can imagine that he'll be under. He probably feels useless,
That's
so he didn't get no points. I think he came 12th in Canada last time, and this. So I think that's the really kind of pressure I can imagine him being under. But I don't think he should be under any pressure because they know the reason why. That car is only meant for Verstappen, in that kind of way.
Yeah. I do think that what he probably meant by pressure is that seeing a car that you don't understand for the first time, and it's not his fault, and having the car not respond to you. And when you look at the Red Bull racing car, that car is more balanced than the RB21. The RB21 has a smaller window. The RB21 is faster when it reaches its sweet spot, but it doesn't have balance. It doesn't have a range of tracks it can go on like Red Bull. So the Red Bull racing car is actually better for a second driver than the Red Bull, the actual Red Bull car. So I think that's what he means. This is the first time he's been with a car that's this radical, because we all know that this car has shapeshifted towards Verstappen's driving style. Yeah. You know what's funny? I like Verstappen, but maybe Verstappen, because of the way he drives, is unorthodox. Maybe he pushed that car to be developed in a way in which it's not good. So in other words, they shouldn't have just been listening to him saying, make these changes. They should have created a car that was more balanced. And I think Verstappen would have driven better in it, even though he likes a more pointy car. Sometimes what you want and what you think you need is not what's the best. So in other words, what I'm saying is Verstappen's not an engineer, but maybe he had too much input in that car, and then it caused trouble, even for him, because even he started complaining about it too. So what I'm saying is that, not to diss Verstappen, but leave the design of the car to the designer and the day-to-day engineering changes. And they should have seen that Verstappen may have had bad habits of driving, and has been pointing out. They showed some e-racers who taught Verstappen how to take a long corner. They said, "You're not doing it right," and Verstappen agreed with them. He was laughing. They showed it. So what I'm saying is that maybe Verstappen's instincts of the way he drives, he still has some technical things to learn. That's not to diss him because he's the best driver, but if he's off a little bit on how he's driving corners, it's going to affect the development of the car. You see what I'm saying, Mr. Johnny? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not just Verstappen. It's just that I think they need to make, because everybody has said it. You know, they said that I think it was Peter Windsor, the great sportscaster, F1 pundit. He said if Verstappen was head to head with Piastri in the McLaren car, he said he would beat Piastri every week, and I agree. So that shows you that it's not just about making a car for Verstappen. If Verstappen's given a balanced car like a McLaren car, which is a real car, he will drive faster than what he's doing in the RB21. But they always say, "Oh, he likes a pointy car." But that car from McLaren is so well balanced, and it has a good balance between frontiness and rear end. So I think it's time for Verstappen to back down wherever he goes. If he stays at Red Bull or if he goes to Aston Martin or Mercedes, let them build him the car, and then he can. Once they build him the car, he can just make setup changes on how it feels. But he shouldn't dictate the overall concept of the car. What do you think, Mr. Kunle?
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at Verstappen and the Red Bull car, the Red Bull car has actually lost a lot of pace over the last couple of years. That is evident. I think that when you look at the car itself, at the time that Perez started struggling, Verstappen was still there or thereabouts. Before that, they dominated. Then they were sort of like there or thereabouts, and now Russell is coming into the mix and disturbing him, and he's struggling to get to the top of the cream of the crop. So something is happening to that car. Now, the question of the as to whether it's Verstappen's over tinkering with the car or whether it's the car itself, I think it's a bit of both, but I'd lean towards a little bit more of saying it's the car because of how off and how Tsunoda is struggling and not doing much better than what I think Perez would do if he was in the car himself anyway. So I think
that's because. Go ahead, yeah.
I think it's the engine block. I think they might need a little bit more speed in the Red Bull. I think that's where they're dropping out. I know that Verstappen was complaining about the handling being heavy, but I just think that they need a little bit more frontline speed.
I think actually the real problem with that car is that it's too fronty, so it's been having rear problems, understeer in certain areas, and then oversteer caused by rear instability. So I think that's the problem because the car has good aerodynamics. It's like a jet, but where it struggles is, have you noticed, Mr. Johnny? We've seen the pattern this year on high speed tracks. Verstappen does well. You get my point, but he doesn't do well that have those what they call corners of radiant constant radius. All that means is that a corner that looks like, how NASCAR corners look, where you have to go around the bend for like almost 300 meters. I call it like a rainbow. Those corners that are shaped like a rainbow, like half of a circle. Those corners shaped like half of a circle. That's where Red Bull fucks up because it's a pointy car, and then it either wears out the front tires too much because it's unbalanced in the back, and he tries to compensate by going more to the front. But on short corners that are fast, it doesn't stress out the tires so much because you're only on the corners for a little bit. So I think that's the big problem because we've seen that Verstappen has won or come close to winning because he came second in Canada, which is a high speed track. He came first in Imola, which is high speed track. He came second in Jeddah, which is high speed, and he came first in Suzuka, which is high speed. It's those slow tracks like Miami and Monaco where the car is not driving well. And like you said, Kunle, I think it's not that the Red Bull has gotten slower. It's just that McLaren and the other teams have caught up also. So I think that's
as well. And then they've also lost some engineers too as well. Some key engineers.
They lost tons of engineers, which is that's going to happen to McLaren too. See, what happens is when a team starts winning, the lower engineers start getting job offers from other teams. They're like, "Oh, you're an engineer at McLaren. Come to us." The same thing is going to happen to McLaren too. That's what happens in F1, which is why I say probably overall the best team is Mercedes. They keep their people. And Mercedes goes through periods where they're up and down, but they tend to keep their team together. And Mercedes has money, and we know that they're the best when it comes to engine and traction and things. So we'll move on.